Good morning. Thank you
Good morning.
for joining us here at the Teaching of the Inner Christ. We are a non-profit, non-denominational, spiritual teaching that helps all to contact that center of divinity within. That we call it your true self, your higher self, your God self. Here at the Teaching of the Inner Christ, we call it our inner Christ self. So that is the center of each of us, and we invite you to join us in services like today, so we can support you in that. And if you like, we have classes online that you can find on our website, teachingoftheinnerchrist.org. If you go to the locations and then the outreach ministry, you'll find a list of classes that we do online. So anyway, please join me in an opening unification prayer. If you'd like to close your eyes, and we'll take in a nice deep breath together, breathing in and out. And taking a moment to release all of the cares of the day and come into this time right here and right now and give thanks for the opportunity to grow and to live and to be the highest that we are. Giving thanks to our wonderful inner Christ, our higher self, however we want to call it. And we say, so it is, so we let it be. Amen. And so this morning, our talk is about love, what it's all about. February has been a month of love, and we just love it. And why not? So we're going to take a look at Matthew in the Bible, 22, verses 34 to 40 of the New King James Version. And Matthew tells us that when the Pharisees heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, they gathered together. Then one of them, a lawyer, asked him, they asking Jesus this question, testing him and saying, "Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law?" And Jesus said to him, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind, and this is the first commandment. And the second is like unto the first. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang the law and the prophets." What does this mean for us today? Well, the Pharisees, whom Jesus silenced, represent the literalist within us. That's the part of the mind that is without spiritual understanding. And so who are the Sadducees then? The Sadducees represent our strong materialistic thoughts. And so when these come together, our materialistic and our literalists, we're not really tuning into our inner self. But when he goes on to say, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, that is your subconscious mind. And all your soul, that's the consciousness developed without spirit. That's the outer consciousness. And with all your mind, that is the manifestation of the combination of the subconscious, which is spiritual, and the outer. And so, what that means then, the first commandment tells us to love our Creator above all things, with our subconscious mind, from which comes understanding and development of the spiritual, both conscious and subconscious, and with our physical bodies. And what it means is to love from the depths of our being, from every part of our body, mind, and spirit. And the second commandment presupposes, the second commandment is, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Mm-hmm. Now that presupposes that we do love ourselves. And so, what can we ask ourselves? Do we really love ourselves? Or do we sabotage ourselves in some of our speaking? What do you say when you're asked by someone, what can I do for you? Do you say something like, oh, nothing, I'm good. When you know you could use help? Are you really honoring yourself? Are you really loving yourself in that moment? And what do you say, what would you like to express? What if someone says, how can I help you? What do you say? Nope, got it covered. And you know you could use help? Well, let's take a look at Paul, the apostle, as he speaks to us through 1 Thessalonians 5, verses 14 through 18, and he says, now we exhort you, brethren and sistren, all of us, warn them that are unruly, comfort the feeble-minded, support the weak, be patient with all. Be patient with all. See that no one renders evil for evil to anyone, but always pursue what is good for both of yourselves, and for all. And so rejoice evermore, and pray unceasingly. In everything give thanks, for this is the will of God in Jesus Christ for you. Pray without ceasing. Well, first we can love ourselves. That's the first thing in spreading love and in knowing what love is all about. And the second thing is to remember that it is not possible to think an uncreative thought. So every thought is a prayer. Every word is a prayer. And every action is a prayer. So we are actually always praying without ceasing. It's not possible not to. So the thing then is to catch our every word, our every thought, our every action, which judges ourselves or others. And so from the present day Jesus, we have what we call our love scriptures, and they are channeled messages through a group of sensitives known as the Brotherhood of the Followers of the Present Jesus. And we have several of them. We lovingly call them our pink books because they're pink. This one is called Jesus Love. And on page 14, page 9, Jesus speaks to us and he says, you have been told of beauty, and beauty and recognition of it is the secret to a loving heart. And if you wish to learn to love, look for the beauty, for it is there, in the person you would love, in the experience you would love, in the place that you would love. Because if you love, you will surely see the beauty. And if you cannot find the beauty, it means that you have not found the beauty within your heart, or this person, this place, or this experience. So seek ye first the beauty in your own heart, so that you can see it on the outside. And so on page 10, we see, search within your heart and feel there a kernel, a core of, an essence of something which could be a rose petal, a perfume, and commune with that. And it will show you its counterpart in the outer world. For if you cannot see anything without that which you do not see within yourself. Search for your own inner beauty, look for it, love it, feel it, see it. Do not judge it, but praise it, that it may show you the beauty in all things. In all things. How about that? I have a story for you. And it's about a lady named Rose. And she's 87 years old. And she decided she wanted to go back to college. So she did. And this story is told by a young man who was also in that class. And he said, I stood up and looked around. Oh, the teacher asked us to stand up and introduce ourselves, and he challenged us to get to know someone we didn't already know. So I stood up to look around, and a gentle hand touched my shoulder. And I turned around, and there was this little old lady, beaming up at me with a smile that lit up her entire being. And she said, "Hi, handsome. My name is Rose, and I'm 87 years old. Can I give you a hug?" And I laughed enthusiastically and responded, "Of course you may." And she gave me the greatest squeeze, the greatest hug.
Mm-hmm.
And so I asked her, I said, "Why are you in college at such a young and innocent age?" And she got a twinkle in her eye, and she said, "I'm glad you asked. I'm here to meet a rich husband and get married and have a couple of kids." No, seriously, I asked. I was curious, and that motivated her to tell a little bit more about herself. She said, "Well, I've always dreamed of a college education, and now I'm getting one," she said. "After the class, we walked to the student union building and shared a chocolate milkshake, and we became friends. Every day for the next 3 months, we would leave the class together and talk nonstop. And I was always mesmerized listening to this time machine. Can you imagine the story she had to tell? As she shared her wisdom and experience with me. Over the course of the year, Rose became the campus icon. You can see how that could happen. She easily made friends wherever she went, and she loved to dress up and to revel in the attention bestowed upon her. Everybody just loved her. She was living it up. She was living her dream. And at the end of the semester, we invited Rose to speak at our football banquet. Y'all know what that is, football banquets. And I'll never forget what she taught us when she was introduced and stepped up to the podium. She began to deliver her speech, and she dropped her 3x5 cards on the floor. Frustrated a little bit, she says, "Well, I'm so embarrassed, and I'm so jittery. I gave up beer for Lent, and this whiskey is just killing me." And she said, I'll never get my speech back together, so I'll just tell you what I know. And this is where it came. And she said, "You have to laugh and find humor every day." Sounds good. You have to have a dream.
Yes.
When you lose your dream, you die. We have many people walking around that are dead, and they don't even know it. There is a huge difference between growing older and growing up. If you're 19 years old and lie in bed for a full year and don't do anything productive, in a year you will turn 20 years old. If I am 87 years old and stay in bed for a year and never do anything, I will turn 88. And anybody can grow older. It doesn't take any talent or ability. The idea is to grow up by always finding opportunity to change.
Yep, you got it.
Can't say we've always done it this way. We don't want to do it any other way. Can't do that. She says, "Have no regrets. The elderly don't regret what they did, but rather what they didn't do." And I think that that's true.
Yeah.
The only people who fear death are those with regrets. We think about that for a minute. She concluded her speech by courageously singing the song, "The Rose." And I've given you a copy of that. She challenged each of us to study the lyrics and to live by them in our daily lives. So let's take a look at that. The Rose. And it was written by Amanda McBroom. Now, I don't sing, so I'm gonna read it to you. Some say love, it is a river that drowns the tender reed. Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed. Some say love, it is a hunger, an endless aching need. I say love, it is a flower, and you the only seed. It's the heart afraid of breaking that never learns to dance. It's the dream afraid of waking that never takes a chance. It's the one who won't be taken, who cannot seem to give. And a soul afraid of dying that never learns to live. When the night has been too lonely and the road has been too long, and you think that love is only for the lucky and the strong, just remember in the winter, far beneath the snows, bitter snows, lies a seed that when the sun's love in the spring becomes a rose. And so, do you remember who used to sing that for us all the time? Our dearly beloved Marvin. So, I have another reading for you. And this one, also from Jesus Love. And it comes from page 12. Anytime that you ever spend expressing love in any way whatsoever is the most valuable time that ever was. Count it of great value that you are able to do for someone the smallest kind thing. You do not see the value of your soul and your life, but it is so of great value and of greater value than studying and working. You just do not see it. It has not been with your earthly eyes, but it is looked upon and seen within the eyes of your spirit, and with great rejoicing is done. And if you would reach down on the floor and pick up a piece of dirt, or if you would stop to tell a stranger the directions to the street he wishes to find, this to you is a priceless treasure and of greater value than if you would sit for 5 hours to study and to meditate upon your powers. So it is in service that we find the love and what it's all about. It is to first dig within, find that place within our soul, that place where we connect with the divine, where we know that God is our source, where we feel God within our being, when we know that we are one with all that is. And when we can look at our neighbor, look into our neighbor's eyes, and see the truth, that they are a living, breathing creation of God. If we look at our pets, if we look at an animal, and we look into the eyes and we see the divine in that beautiful creature. If we look at a rock and we see the beauty in the stone. We are loving to all of these creatures, and all of these people, and in the events that we live. If we see the beauty in everything we do, and if we do everything with love, we will surely see the beauty. But first, see it within ourselves. So love, what's it all about? It's expressing whatever we can. Expressing the love, the feeling that we have, whenever we can, however we can, as often as we can, with whomever we can, in thought, word, and deed. And that's what love is all about. Just be it, do it, share it. Be motivated from it. And so it is, so we let it be. Amen. So, thank you so much. Well, and thank you all in our audience online. We want to thank you all for your support of our wonderful teaching here, and we gratefully accept any support you would like to send to us. And now we would have a prayer that we would like to do. It is for us. We call it a RUCAT prayer, and that is, we recognize that God is the source. We unify with ourselves with knowing that God is our source and lives within us, and that we are one with that. And then we make a claim we say, we claim our heart's true desires, and then we accept that. See, the thing about, a lot of people pray and make God do all the work. But God told us that we have free will. And so the part that we have to do is we have to recognize what it is, we have to claim it, and then we have to accept it and know that it is up to us to move forward on whatever it is that God feeds to us. And so we do that, and then we give thanks in advance, knowing that that our prayer is fulfilled. And so let us come together. This prayer treatment is for all of us here for the fulfillment of our true desires. So we know that God is the source of all. God is the creator of all good. God is all powerful. God is omnipresent. God is divine love. And God expresses itself through all creation. We know that we are one with the source, God the source of all. And we are one with the creator of all good. And we are one with all power. We are one with God's omnipresence. We are one with divine love. And we are one with all of God's creation. There is no high, there is no low. And so I claim for all of us here the fulfillment of our heart's true desires. And I go further to accept for all of us here the fulfillment of our heart's true desires as God's desires for us, working through us now. All error thoughts of fear or false beliefs, appearances are now healed, forgiven, released, and let go. And in the vacuum they leave is the fulfillment, the outpicturing of our heart's true desires. And so we give thanks right now for the fulfillment of our heart's true desires, manifesting right here and right now in the present time. And so trusting completely in the universal law of attraction to respond, I release, let go, and let God within me do the rest. Thank you, wonderful God, in all of us. So it is, and so we let it be. Amen. Thank you. And so we have an affirmation for the coming week. If you'd like to say this with me, I'll start it with, I am a channel for the Christ love, and I allow the power of love to radiate through me now. I am a receiver of the power of the Christ love. So let's say this together. I am a channel for the Christ love,
and I allow this power of love to radiate through me now. I am a receiver of the power of the Christ love.
Thank you, wonderful God. So it is, and so we let it be. Amen.